We'll go ahead and get started then. As a reminder to all our friends that are regulars, the meeting is recorded and will be posted on the County YouTube channel in the near future. No cause for public hearing. Any old items of discussion? I'm not aware of any. New items of discussion. I was actually just kind of writing up what I wanted to say about this. But I'll tell you the story on recidivism program that we came up with. So a few weeks ago, I was at the Love Inc. board meeting. And we were talking about a lot of fundamental things. And one of the general things that both the board members and I expressed was that over the course of generations, like social services that were done by the church have been somewhat ceded, and the government has tried to step into the gap. The problem, of course, is that the government is an ineffectual parent, is not a good role model, and fundamentally can't help with relationship building. We have virtues, and that has to do mostly with administration of justice and the punitive nature. But the fact is, we do not have the resources in order to individually invest in the relationships with people that we serve through the jail.
I'm sorry to interrupt, can you just review what Love Inc. does?
Sure.
Their overall mission?
So Love Inc. is like a clearinghouse for churches and social services. One of the problems that I understood they had in the past was that a person would come to a church and ask for, money, food, or whatever service, and then go to the next church and ask for the same thing, double, triple dip, etc. And also, then you had these smaller churches that were trying to do, fill all the needs. And so what Love Inc. did is they said, we'll be the clearinghouse. Church A, if you could have a furniture ministry, we'll mark that down. If Church B, you could do food. Mm-hmm. Church C, clothing, etc., etc.
Or keep track of what everybody's putting in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, when someone comes and needs a social service of some kind, they either go to the church or Love Inc., but either way, they get referred to Love Inc., and Love Inc. then pairs them with the ministry that is able to help the need.
Mm-hmm. That's a great name, by the way.
Love
Inc. Yeah, I like that. So it sounds like a Prince song.
It stands for In the Name of Christ.
Oh, very good.
So, what I was proposing is somewhat of a almost reversal of the model. Mm-hmm. We have inmates sitting in our jail, a couple dozen at any given time, that could, first of all, be ministering to the churches through their community service hours. Mm-hmm. And so the idea was, that the first thing that we talked about was we have these inmates who could actually, through Love Inc., be brokered essentially to the churches to help them with lawn care, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. But most importantly, the churches could have identified representatives within their bodies to help build relationship with the inmate. Mm-hmm. And so rather than just sending them out on a work detail, someone would actually come and pick the person up, maybe take them out to the coffee shop, or have a dinner around the family table. Mm-hmm. Also do community work, service hours at the church, at the local park, clean the pool, whatever. But that person within the church could actually be the one that steps into the gap and builds that relationship. The reason I think this is so important is because I've heard far too many stories, and I have too many individual circumstances that I've seen where an individual gets into jail, it hardens them, they pick up new friends that are not helpful at performing.
The people that need to be there.
Yeah, exactly. So the people that, frankly, you have a chance of reforming end up getting in with people that are the more hardened.
The jail was built for.
Exactly. And so they get out, and now they have more of a propensity towards criminal activity. Mm-hmm. And worse, they've severed the ties with good relationships that they had previously. And so when they're in need, who do they turn to but their cronies? And it just starts this bad cycle. Not to mention the fact that many of the people that are in there they're going to be in jail for a period of time anyway. They may as well be racking up as many community service hours as possible so they can get back to having a job, back to paying off their fines and costs so that they don't end up back in jail. So I view a partnership with Love Inc. as potentially impactful for not only the community but also the inmate. Central idea would be that they just come pick them up, preferably nights and weekends, because many of the work release eligible people have jobs or have other tasks, like we have them out mowing and such. That would enable retirees, even people that are working full time, to come pick them up after work, take them to dinner, have a coordinated effort. I met with Love Inc. last week and the warden and the work release coordinator, and I think we figured out how all this could work, what kind of rules there would be, and so far everyone's on board. So I wanted to bring it to you before I send a letter out to all the churches asking to have a meeting regarding the program. But again, Love Inc. would be the partner with the county, so I would like to help kickstart it, but really Love Inc. would be the one that would be coordinating. So they would be the ones that, they already have a volunteer application process for similar volunteer positions. So they have a ready-made system. They already have the relationships, the networks, the projects. So it's just a perfect partnership because it gets our inmates out there, and really the only liability to us is the insurance that we already pay. We've got the rule book. It's just ready-made and sitting there ready for us to take advantage of the opportunity. So if you don't have any objection, I will send out the letter to the churches, coordinate a meeting, and start making this happen. Report back in a few weeks.
Well,
do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, naturally. So just a couple things. One is that I think it sounds great. This is similar to some degree of what Center County has done previously. They had a huge effort to engage their faith community, to provide, workshops, mentorship, which is that sounds like what you're working on, and have as a result reduced their recidivism rate, and so their jail population has decreased as a result, which has saved the county money. Because a lot of these people get put into a channel and then get on a better path so that they don't commit another crime or fail to pay their fines or whatever that gets them back into the system. The more that we can do, and especially in conjunction with the community, can be at a savings to the taxpayer. So fundamentally there's a financial reason to do it. The only thing I would say is as a part of the gardening bit that we've worked on, the Master Gardener program, and then also the discussion about utilizing inmates for a county recycling center, and then just taking a look at work release in general. We're going to be taking a look at and then also in conjunction with maintenance, just generally putting together a more defined schedule and some policy documents to streamline and iron out the work release process, because I think that the challenge that you're going to have is, at least right now, is kind of a little bit all over the place, and so as a result, you can get different people every single week, and then it depends on where everybody's at, what they're doing, and then they're just there are days where it's really difficult to get people out, or when they get out, they're not managed as well as they could be to get the most out of the situation. The other thing is taking a look at what we get for the community service hours and everything else, because my perspective on it is that people should either be paying down fines or getting community service hours that are part of their sentence or something, in order to help either, because we have people that end up in jail because of fines and other things. Like, those are people that, if they can do community service and provide value to the community, should see a benefit from it in their sentencing or in their ability to get out of jail. Currently, that kind of feels like it's all over the place, and we need some clarity on that. But my point is that to get the most out of what you're doing, I think by doing those two things could make it a very robust and worthwhile program for the community. So it sounds great. We just, in order to do that, to do the others, I think we need a little bit more structure than we have currently. And with Ryan's been in the job now 6 months or a year, I think it's a good time to kind of work with him and the warden to really put a framework together to get as much out of the inmate utilization as we can get, and try to reduce the jail population. So.
Right. Good. Any other comments, questions? All right. I'll copy you, Josh, on the letter. Any other new items to discuss in the raise?
I didn't want to do it last minute, and I certainly want to make sure that all three commissioners are here. I'd like to have an executive session to discuss the potential agreement with Highmark for health insurance. We were provided with an exclusive agreement with Highmark for a period of years or whatever, and I think that it's just kind of, since we've gotten it, it's just kind of sat there and we haven't had a discussion about it. I think that we should have a discussion about it being a legal agreement. I think, especially one that proposes a variety of legal questions. Like, we should have an executive session, and then, depending upon how that goes, bring it to the work session and then discuss it, or put it on the agenda one way or the other.
Right. Well, if Shreve's involved in advising us, it's clearly exempt.
Yeah. Because basically we got it, and we haven't really taken a look at it or had a discussion.
Yeah, that was
about
so long ago. I completely forgot about it.
And I think that with the constant ongoing questions of health insurance and the cost of healthcare to the county, like, we should definitely take a look at it seriously and then decide whether we're going to do anything with it or not.
Okay, we can set up an executive session, but Attorney Shreve will definitely need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And who else?
The three commissioners and Shreve.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe Eric too. Yeah, that's right, Eric.
Yep.
All right. Any project updates?
Not this week. There's a bunch of stuff, but we'll talk about next week.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a short meeting, so I'm going to Harrisburg after this.
Okay. I just think if there's anything off the top of my head.
While we're thinking about that, the department/employee/committee/public comments. All right. In terms of schedule, I think I have a little bit of an odd week. So I'm going down to Harrisburg right now, and I'll be testifying in the Senate tomorrow. I'll be back sometime in the afternoon.
What are you testifying for?
Title 35 revisions, EMS Act.
Oh, very good.
My main fundamental contention is, first of all, we train our EMTs and EMRs to one standard, the national standard, and then the Pennsylvania Department of Health has a different standard. So basically, we train to the test and then tell you, okay, forget some of this because you actually have to do it this way. Mm-hmm. So my contention is either you should do away with the National Registry, or you should match Pennsylvania Department of Health code to the National Registry, because this is confusing. Mm-hmm. The second thing is we've got, in my department, I have registered nurses who worked in ERs who are technically not qualified to drive the ambulance or serve on it.
Yep.
I've got former paramedics who let their license lapse, but they're paramedics for crying out loud. They've had hundreds of hours of training, and they're not allowed to, do CPR. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's so Pennsylvania. It's just like, make it as have something that should be a no-brainer and turn it into a total mess.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm asking that paramedics and nurses are able to challenge the emergency medical responder test, because they're going to
have a waiver or something.
Yeah. I'm just saying, pass the test. Without
pass the test
without going through 150 hours of training or whatever. Yeah,
that doesn't make that really doesn't make any sense at all. Like even in general certifications, I mean, if you're capable of doing it, they just give it to you. I mean,
you would think
that's pretty.
That's my contention. So anyway, I'll be done after that. Wednesday, I'm going to try to work on my business for once, which I walked in there last week and they were like, "Oh, we haven't seen you in a month." So I'm going to try to spend some time over there. Friday, I'm at the Workforce Development Board meeting in Meadville, so I'll be gone a lot of that day too. So busy week. There's a COG meeting on Wednesday, right?
Yep. I'll be at that. There's some things that we've got to talk to them about. That we're going to be asking for their input on as a part of the redevelopment task force, so I'll be there.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm going to be out most of the time today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. I'm going to be working remotely.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning we have the union negotiations, and I'll be out for that too.
Right. I may need to cancel this. It looks like I'm going to need to take a couple bereavement days, either late this week or early next week.
Did your grandfather pass?
No, he's okay. I'll tell you about it later.
Okay. Sorry.
He's actually doing better.
Oh, good.
Tentatively, I have on Saturday's agenda, I invited a bunch of the county police chiefs and fire chiefs over to my place for a little shindig.
Yeah, you guys are going to do the...
So I will invite the commissioners if it's actually going to go forward. If I have to take a bereavement day, then I'll cancel it. So.
I'm probably going to... we're going to get a schedule together to start the coffee events up again.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, because I figure that's time. It's time.
Yeah, it has been a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Like in the past, though, it's been
Good.
by every other week.
This time we might do maybe we'll add green tea and some fruit.
Okay.
Because everybody, there are some people that always were not happy that I was trying to hand them donuts.
Yeah, no. Everyone on the health committee.
Yeah. Well, it's like nobody in Lori's office would ever take anything because they were all being good. And I come in there and I felt like
we wanted it really bad.
Yeah. It was more of a torture than a treat. So.
Right. All right. Well, anything else schedule-wise? My schedule's good.
Pam's got half of the day scheduled for the town halls, so I think we've got we might have to make a few more calls to try to lock down places for the other locations.
I have a call into somebody with the Pine Grove Fire Department.
Yeah, because you have Columbus and
Sheffield.
And Sheffield, which are,
And Grand Valley, Eldred Township's going to use their fire department. Because I contacted Pine Grove and asked her if she got my emails. Yeah. So I'm going to call the fire department myself to see if we can use the fire department.
Okay.
And then once I get that one done, then I'll either call the library or Glade Township.
Yeah, the library would be easy to set up. The only thing is I would get a hold of the library quick because the Slater room fills up. So, we want to lock it down. But that'd be a great place for it.
Just, I'm thinking parking.
Well, I mean, it's always.
Yeah, but if you have it at, you know, at Glade, if they'll give us their municipal hall, then, you know, they'd have parking.
Oh, you mean do the Warren one in Glade?
Mhm.
That's right. The Glade Fire Hall wouldn't be bad. That's a nice space.
Yeah. So I just got to lock down 2 dates, and we're ready to start pushing and advertising, and
Great.
so that.
Good. So that's this summer.
Mhm. Starting the end of July and into August.
Cool. Good. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? And I guess we can adjourn.
Yeah.